Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to this council meeting of Tuesday, the 17th of September at the Euroa Community Conference Centre. I'm Peter Stevenson, Administrator of Strathbogie Shire Council, and I'll be chairing this evening's meeting. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the places we live, work and play. We recognise and respect the enduring relationship they have with their lands and waters, and we pay respects to the elders past, present and emerging. Today we're meeting on the lands of the Tongarong peoples of the Eastern Kulin Nation, whose sovereignty here has never been ceded. This public meeting is being streamed live via our website and made available for public access on our website along with the official minutes of this meeting. All care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, it is assumed that your consent is given in the event that your image is broadcast to the public. It is also assumed that your consent is given to the use and disclosure of any information that you share at the meeting, including personal or sensitive information, to any person who accesses those recordings or minutes. Council considers that the recommendations contained in this agenda gives effect to the overarching governance principles stated in Section 9.2 of the Local Government Act 2020. These principles are numbered 1 to 9 on page 4 of the agenda. As we are now in the election period, during the election period and in accordance with 6.2 of Strathbogie Shire Council election period policy, the Interim Chief Executive Officer must ensure an election period statement is included in any report submitted to a council meeting stating that the recommended decision is not a prohibited decision as defined under Section 69.2 of the Local Government Act 2020. Tonight's items have been considered appropriate and meet the election period requirements. We welcome the people in our public gallery and also those viewing this meeting through our live stream via our website. This meeting is being held in accordance with Strathbogie Shire's governance rules. If we have technical difficulties during today's meeting, which means we're unable to stream the proceedings to the public, we will continue with the meeting given the public gallery is open. If an officer has a conflict of interest in a matter, they will be asked to leave the meeting and no discussion on the matter will commence until we are sure they have done so. The person will then be contacted to rejoin the meeting after the matter has been considered and the vote concluded. Chief Executive, any apologies, leave of absence?
No, Mr Chair, we have no apologies or leaves of absence for tonight.
Do we have any disclosures of conflict of interest?
No disclosures of conflict of interest.
Thanks, Mr CEO. Confirmation of minutes of decisions of previous meetings. Now, the minutes decisions of the ordinary council meeting held on Tuesday, the 20th of August 2024, including confidential business, is what we're talking about. But I do note there's a date change required for the minutes. The Steering Committee for Kerwins Bridge Local Emergency Action Plan, expression of interest closed on the 30th of August, not the 23rd of August as advised. And with that alteration to the minutes, I'd move that those minutes of that meeting held on the Tuesday, the 20th of August, 2024, including confidential business, are confirmed. We have no petitions. I have a short administrator's report. Given we're now officially in the election period, as of 12 noon today, in fact, and in accordance with Council's election period policy, the ordinary day-to-day business of local government must continue throughout the election period. Business will be conducted by Council and in particular its staff in a responsible and transparent manner and in accordance with statutory requirements. This is to ensure fairness and ethicality. Councils are not allowed to take certain types of actions and make decisions that could influence voters or have a major impact on the new council. I'd add that our normal monthly report agenda item has not been included in this month's agenda, as officers are currently reviewing the information and format in which this information has been presented previously. And lastly, congratulations to the winners in various categories at the Strathbogie Shire Business Awards on the 23rd of August, showcasing the fabulous offerings in our municipality. That concludes my report. Please note that in accordance with the election period policy clause 6.2 and Strathbogie Shire Council Governance Rules clause 35.2.2, public question time will not occur during the election period. And I'll now move to the agenda proper, officer reports, in fact, number 11. So the first item, officer reports, is planning applications received and planning applications determined 1st of August to the 31st of August 2024, 11.1.1. And Director Frampton, could you please give us a brief summary of this report?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Council's planning permit application referral to council policy states that we provide a report at each month. So this is our standard monthly report on all planning applications received and planning applications determined in the period of the 1st through till the 31st of August 2024. The latest available planning permit activity performance figures are also attached. These are for the month of July 2024. It is noted that there were 14 new planning applications received and 15 planning applications decided on during this reporting period. Attachment 4 also details an update on current Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal appeals where no decision has been made. There's a recommendation on page 6 of tonight's agenda for your consideration.
Thanks, Director Frampton, and again a comprehensive report of the activity of the department. Given the election period and given what I've said previously, I'm not going to make a lot of comment about these reports. Simply, I'll make a decision one way or another. So, with that said, I'll move that the recommendation on page. It is on page 6. Okay. Of course it is. On page 6 becomes a resolution and as such is carried. We move now to page 13 and the draft annual financial report 2023-24. So Director Tingay, over to you. If you could please provide a brief summary of this report.
Thank you, Chair. The annual financial statements for the 2023-2024 period have been prepared and submitted to Crowe Australasia, the appointed auditors for the Victorian Auditor General's Office, for an independent audit opinion. Use has been made of the Local Government Model Financial Report for the 23-24 period that was released by Local Government Victoria, and that's released to assist councils across the state in providing uniform financial reports that meet the requirements of the Act and accounting standards. Overall, financial statements show that council's financial position remains sound. The Local Government Act requires that council pass a resolution giving its approval in principle to the annual financial report prior to formally submitting it to the Auditor General Victoria. This report makes this recommendation tonight and is presented to council for consideration, and the recommendation commences on page 13. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Director Tingay. And I note what Director Tingay said, that it has been through our auditors and they're comfortable with the report as it is. Others will make their own judgments, I guess, on how the organisation's performed. But I will simply move that the recommendation on page 13 becomes a resolution. and is thus carried. And thank you for your work, everybody, on that. Moving to page 85, and there's a fair bit to read in there to get to page 85, so it'll keep some people busy. Page 85, adoption of the draft performance statement. Just bear with me. Just bear with me as I get through to it. Here we go. Here we go. All right. There we go. At least when councillors come back soon, they won't all be waiting for the person here to talk. Okay, 11.2.2 adoption of draft performance statement 2023-24 and draft governance management checklist. Director Tingay, it's you again. May you provide us a brief summary, please?
Thank you, Chair. The Local Government Act requires that Council pass a resolution giving its approval to the draft 2023-24 performance statement and also the 2023-2024 draft governance management checklist prior to formal submission to the Auditor General Victoria for their audit opinion. The performance statement compares the 2023-2024 performance against the previous 3 financial years, with comments detailing any significant variances outside the tolerance identified by local government Victoria. The indicators are identified in Local Government Victoria's Local Government Performance Reporting System. In addition, the Local Government Act requires Council to report on Council's assessment against the prescribed checklist that identifies a range of policies and documents prescribed by Local Government Victoria as creating a sound governance framework that has also complied with key requirements. Both of these documents are presented to Council this evening for consideration, and there is a recommendation on page 85 for tonight's consideration. Thank you.
Thanks, Director Tingay. And again, I note that this report has been through our auditors, and we've made minor changes in relation to feedback that we've received. And the recommendation is an in principle, adopting in principle, and bear with me. And then once, yeah, it's a 3-part. It's a 3-part. It's not finalised tonight, but it's an in principle, and there's a couple of processes before the performance statement and governance management checklist is included in Council's annual report for the year just passed. I'm comfortable to adopt that recommendation, and as such, it becomes a resolution and is carried. Again, thank you for all of those involved in putting this report together. This and the previous, I should say, this and the previous report, they don't. I can't do it justice in the election period because I can't really talk about all of the good things that have occurred. But this and the previous report, they represent a hell of a lot of work that's been done, and I'll just leave it at that. And thank you for that work. All right, moving to page 114, and we're moving to the minutes of the Strathbogie Shire Council Audit and Risk Committee confirmed minutes of the ordinary meeting held on 21st. Yes.
16, 14.
Yeah.
The audience.
Oh, yes. So, minutes held on the 21st of June 2024 on page 116. It's 11.2.3. And Director Tingay, you're in the chair again. We're in the frame again to give us a brief a brief synopsis. And bless you out there.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, through you. This is just bringing up the confirmed minutes from our Strathbogie Audit and Risk Committee. That was held on the 21st of June. And through you, Chair, there may just need to be there was a typo in the recommendation. It indicates the 1st of June.
Yeah.
So we may just need to clarify that for your consideration this evening. A number of business items were discussed, including payroll strategy, impacts of climate change and global warming events on capital operations, affordable and social housing policy, business continuity, testing and training, and also recruitment of the independent community member to the Audit and Risk Committee. So there is a recommendation on page 114 of tonight's agenda for your consideration.
Thank you, Director Tingay. And just confirming, the typo is in relation to the date.
Yes. Excuse me, just my computer is currently not loading, but I understand that the meeting was held on the 21st, was held on the 21st of June, and in the recommendation box it indicates on the 1st of June.
Yep.
Apologies for that, Chair.
No problems. The key there where there's errors is to be able to pick them up and get them sorted. So with the correction, I'll move the recommendation subject to correction of the error in the date in the recommendation. I'll move that becomes a resolution and as such is carried. And thank you for the audit. Well, thank you for the work of the audit committee, I should say. Okay, moving right along to page 126, 11.2.4, which relates to S11A, S11B and S18 instruments of appointment and authorisation, the instrument of sub-delegation to members of council staff update. And I think, Director Tingay, you're in the frame again. Could you speak briefly to that?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. And you've previously spoke at previous meetings to say how important delegations are. Obviously, they enable officers to perform the day-to-day operations of the council. These instruments are being presented to you following changes to reflect the current organisational structure, so whereby people are in positions and the delegations instruments needed to be updated to reflect the people in the roles. Other than that, no changes. So there is a recommendation on a page, commencing on page 126 for your consideration. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Director Tingay. And I'll simply say a belated welcome to those staff members that have these delegations and hope they have a long and fruitful career with Strathbogie Shire and in the sector more generally. The recommendation on page 126 is one in 6 parts, pages 126 and 127. I'll move that the recommendation on those pages becomes a resolution and is thus carried. And I believe that is all we have this evening. So for my penultimate meeting, it's been quite a brief one. I do thank the audience and I thank the staff for putting it together. But at this point, that is all. Our next meeting is to be held on the 15th of October here at 6 p.m. So we look forward to seeing everybody here then. Thank you. And the meeting closed at 6:22? 6:19. We will take that advice and get that clock sorted. 6:19. Thanks, Director Frampton. Thank you very much. Meeting closed.